Very good evening, everyone. This is Vineet Pandey. It's a public live. आप सभी को नमस्कार, सभी को सत श्री अकाल, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, good evening. And today we're going to talk about an offbeat topic, a different topic. We're actually going to talk about world literature and we're actually going to talk about Australian literature. So, why I chose world literature today, why I chose world literature and Australian literature, it's very much simple. In my offline batch in Delhi, we have completed Australian literature. I have delivered a special lecture on world literature. So I thought that I should speak on these topics to my online students and also the students who are not registered, not my online student, but yes, they are students. So, knowledge should be shared. Knowledge is a wild thing that must be hunted before it disappears. And here I'm just, playing with the headphones and so that you can have a better audio quality. For a better approach, I have purchased iPhone 13 Pro so that you can have more and more clear voice. Because live classes are not possible with the professional DSLR cameras. A very good evening to you, and all the online students can simply go for their attendance, just like the college attendance, school attendance. So, online students simply write your name, your state, and online students. And all those who are not my online student, they are also students. So, you can simply write new student. Let's take 2-3 minutes time to introduce each other. And after that, we will complete Australian literature plus world literature today only. So I'll make sure that this video conversation, this live class alone helps you with world literature so that you don't have to search for new topics, new things. And yes, whatever I'm teaching here is more than enough. यहाँ जो पढ़ोगे it's more than enough. वो आपके लिए काफ़ी है. Okay. One student from Pondicherry. I have a student visually challenged from Pondicherry. He has qualified NET, preparing for assistant professor. So here we are getting a lot of messages, replies. Some of us are from Maharashtra. Some of you are watching me from Kerala. Namaskaram to everyone from Kerala and Jai Maharashtra to everyone watching me from Maharashtra. Those who are watching me from West Bengal, how to greet in Bengali? I don't know how to greet in Bengali, so just consider it my hello. हरियाणा राजस्थान वाले भाइयों को राम राम. दिल्ली वाले लोगों को हेलो. पड़ोसी हो आप लोग मेरे. आई एम इन साउथ दिल्ली राइट नाउ, सो यहाँ से पढ़ा रहा हूँ. I was having a headache, so went for this champy. In fact, I must tell you this thing. How many of you know what the word shampoo? What does it mean, shampoo? Thanks to Shashi Tharoor, I was watching his interview, and Shashi Tharoor was talking about Indian English language, Indian language in coinage of the new words, and there I got to know about this shampoo thing. So Shashi Tharoor was teaching this, and he said that shampoo is not an English word; it is an Indian word, and how the word shampoo got coined. So the Angrez people, when they would have headache, they would call Indians to give a head massage, and the head massagers people, they would simply go for chumpy. So that chumpy thing, the head massage that I have also taken today, chumpy, that chumpy got converted into champu, and taking a head massage, chumpy got converted into shampoo. And now what we say that I want shampoo. No, it is actually champu. One of you, Tushar, has rightly guessed the channel. Yes, that channel was English Nut and it was the interview. तुषार बहुत सही गेस किया आपने. शशि थरूर का इंटरव्यू था, and obviously Shashi Tharoor is a great man. I can meet him whenever I want. I can meet him whenever I want. But something that inside me, it stops me. It says that you must work hard, reach to the level before you meet him. I have very good contacts in both of the political parties. So for me, it's like just arranging one or two calls and meeting Shashi Tharoor. But the self-respect that I have is like prepare, be ready to meet that man. He's a big, big, big knowledgeable guy. Anyway, So, guys, before I teach you world literature, I have a question for all of you. Tell me this thing: what exactly you mean by world? All the new students, please take notebook, pen, paper. Online students already have attended a lecture on world literature, so they already know it. What is the concept of the world according to you? Because technically, every word has a meaning, and a word has a meaning, and that meaning can be your individual meaning. It is not the social meaning. So what exactly you think is your meaning, not the social meaning. As I taught in my online class, I was asking them that how many of you would like to go for the world tour. So they said, yes sir, we want to go for world tour. World tour is the dream of everyone, right? So you all have world tour and this plan to go for the dream. But what if I actually take you to Somalia, Nigeria, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, and then I say, see, this is the offer of world tour. Make my trip is giving you world tour offer. So no, you don't want to go for this world tour. So when you say world tour, your world is actually European countries, clean countries, lush green countries, beautiful countries like that. So the moment you say the world, it has a different perspective from world tour point of view. When America says the world is watching us, so America actually talks about the third world countries because America is leading them. When we look at the world and we say that India must compete the world, so we talk about European countries. We are not talking about Nepal. We are not talking about Bangladesh. When we say that India has to work hard, India has to fight back, India has to maintain its space in the world scenario. So technically, the perspective is limited. It's not 360-degree perspective. So that's the concept. When we actually talk about world literature, we actually study some countries which are very much dominant, or they have some kind of contribution in literature. Some of these countries have big patch of land or the big population, and they have actually been the part of canonical studies. So technically, when we say the world literature, we actually go for German, French, Russian, Australian, Canadian, then Japanese literature is also included. Along with these things, there are some random countries, but they're good literatures there. So that's what we study in world literature. Why do we need to read world literature? Second point, please make notes. Why do we need to read world literature? What is the requirement? Why? Like, we are reading Indian literature. Isn't it good? Isn't it enough? Why should we read the literature of others? Why? Because it is the human understanding. Remember John Locke, essay concerning human understanding, published in 1690. The famous term tabula rasa was written. What I know, what you know, living in an Indian subcontinent is limited, because Indian subcontinent is just one culture in multiple cultures. So the world has multiple cultures, and until unless you know the world history, you know the world culture, the moralities, the myths, the fantasies for them, you won't be able to understand the development of great chain of being. What does it mean to be a human? A human from India only? What does it mean to be a human from the world perspective? We are actually moving towards globalization, a global village. So when we are becoming the part of each other, it's an easy thing to call your friends in other countries on a video call and talk and celebrate things. The cultures are mingling, the cultures are being merged up, and that's the reason that we must understand world literature. For example, being the heroine of a story in Indian novels, be the heroine of Western novels. There are two different things. In Indian stories, if you are a heroine, suppose you are a heroine in Indian stories, then you must bring moralities, Bharatiya Nari attitude, and loyalty and devotion, and then rest of the things are for the heroic things. But the common things are be follow moralities, be loyal, this, and that. In Western literature, the women doesn't have to be this thing. One of the best example of Vanity Fair, Rebecca Sharp, coming from Britain, English literature. Rebecca Sharp is the one who does everything wrong, goes for multiple affairs, adulterous nature, for the sake of survival, for the sake of money, to survive in a country where the rich only gets respect. The poor, they don't get respect. But if we go for the another country, we go for France, French literature. Emma Bovary, the famous work written by Gustave Flaubert, and the main character, lead character Emma, is actually looking for fun, happening life, not a dull life. She's also a girl coming from a society where she goes for multiple affairs for the sake of a happening life, not a dull life, because she found her husband a very clumsy guy, very dull and lazy ass. So technically, if we actually compare these multiple kind of literature, for example, as I've talked about Rebecca Sharp, let's talk about Anna Karenina. There is a YouTube video. It has been recorded by me in Rishikesh. Five Faces of Eve. EVE. If you watch my videos, watch it. Five Faces of Eve. EVE. Five different female characters from the great classical books and their character study. So you can watch it. Five Faces of Eve. Anna Karenina also goes for affair out of a marriage. But that's not for the sake of happening life, for the sake of money, it is for the sake of love. But can we also say that an Indian woman can also do the same thing? For Indian women, whether she is devoid of love, whether she is devoid of money, whether she is devoid of a happening life, the moment she goes for an affair, she will become the villain of the story. No Indian reader will accept that it's alright that you went for an affair, it's okay. No. That's the difference. So when you read world literature, you actually get to know the another side of the coin, multiple perspectives and their developments. The pain, the suffering, the emotions are common, but the rest of the social structures are not common. They're different. Basic structures are same. Power structures are same. If we talk about the world literature, we'll find it out that in every country's literature, male domination is quite visible, quite clear. But the percentage of male domination, it increases, it decreases. If we talk about the Indian continent, Indian scenario, yes, the male chauvinism, the male superiority, the male patriarchy is kind of highly celebrated in Indian continent, not in other countries. But again, the domination of male is everywhere. So now the question comes: what are the important themes we study? Sorry, I'm very sorry, very sorry. So what are the important themes in world literature? वर्ल्ड लिटरेचर में इंपॉर्टेंट थीम क्या है? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द कल्चर. Why do we read others, their stories? Their perspectives, their cultures are different, right? Second thing, myths, emotions, their own fantasies, their mythologies. How will we understand this, that their mythology, their myths are different and ours are different? Yes, we have different mythology, they have different mythology. Some of us can say that we have same mythologies also. Yes, some mythologies are common. But technically, what we study is their culture, their moralities, their myths, their fantasies, their social structure. And now the question comes that how all of a sudden, I believe all the new students who are writing, because the special lecture has already been given to online students, so make sure you write. The next point comes that why all of a sudden world literature became famous, why world literature became something important, why people are reading it, why people are teaching it. अचानक से वर्ल्ड लिटरेचर क्यों पढ़ना पड़ा, ऐसा क्या हो गया? सोचो. Like nobody talks about world literature in Augustans, nobody talks about world literature Russians, Victorians, nobody talks about world literature in Elizabethans, Chaucerians. Then why all of a sudden in 20th century, 21st century, world literature becomes a prominent subject? I have really read a lot in these things, and I told you, this is one of my recent purchase. Don't buy this book. It's of 10,000. 10,000 की है ये recent purchase है, and I'm actually working on this. And second book जो मैं दूसरी पढ़ रहा था वो ये है. This one is also called costly, but please don't buy. Okay, I will read. I'll give you precious lectures, and you can see my library. If I can just show you the library, it's that much big. Generally, so I simply wanted to say, you said globalization. Many of you are answering globalization. No doubt it's a perfect answer. But my friends, what are the reasons behind globalization? What are the reasons? The very first reason behind the globalization was World War One. How the world came in contact with each other directly. सीधा कांटेक्ट कैसे हुआ? ऐसा क्या हुआ कि पूरी दुनिया को एक दूसरे से कांटेक्ट में आना पड़ा? क्योंकि हुआ महायुद्ध, वर्ल्ड वॉर वन 1914 to 1918. We know what happens. Two different sides are the countries, they were fighting. People were already happy because of the rise of machine guns in 1880s, rise of small cannons, tanks, and other technologies. So people were full of confidence that we have better guns, we have better machine guns. It is Napoleon who said that the victory will be of those who have the big cannons. तो जिनके पास बड़ी तोपें हैं. So technically the race of armaments, हथियारों की जो रेस थी वो शुरू हो गई. In World War One, we got to know about the other countries, other people, other kind of stories. Right? One of the famous war poets says, "I am the enemy, you killed my friend." Then comes the aftermath effects of World War One. Destruction was common for every country. Financial loss was common for every country. Human loss, human life, life was lost in every country. So somewhere they found some kind of similarity, and then they were actually recovering from the World War One's damage, and also were preparing for the Second World War. The same duration, the world got hit by another massive strike, massive trouble, and that was of Great Depression of 1930s. For the first time, the world got to know that the war is nothing. Economic crisis is the real thing. People can die. In 1930s Great Depression, महामंदी 1930 की महामंदी बोलते हैं, आर्थिक महामंदी. 1 रुपए की चीज 1,000 रुपए की हो गई थी. Because of one small rumor that Wall Street has crashed, 1930s Great Depression caused more damage than the World War One itself. 30 million people died. 30 million. लोग मर गए थे भूख से, starving. And after this, the world came in contact with each other, financial conditions, they accepted superiorities of European countries, and then we go for the World War Two. So technically it was between the world. So either you are the part of American supremacy or you are the part of Russian supremacy. This is the present time result. What is happening with Ukraine? Russia says come with me, NATO says come with me. Who is NATO actually? NATO is a group of 30 countries led by America. So technically it's America versus Russia. That was the thing after World War Two. World War Two, American supremacy got established. Technically, people understood that it is the World Bank, world money, world currency, the country which has the economic structure, the strongest country will lead everyone. And that was the reason that we went in contact of each other. It became a kind of need to know each other, to understand each other. एक दूसरे की country को जानना, culture को जानना, that became the need. I was watching an advertisement, and that advertisement shows the need of culture studies, because world literature actually becomes the part of culture study. So one football player meets a Japanese fan. Japanese fan greets him like this. He bows down and greets him like this. So the player doesn't know, then he understands, oh, it's a kind of greeting. So he does like this. In the match against the Japanese are going to defend the goal. They have made a wall, and he goes and he does like this. All the Japanese players do like this, and he hits the ball. It's goal. So technically, you know the culture, you win the culture. So it became the need of knowing people. All these kind of Western countries selling their products in India are very well aware of Holi, Diwali celebrations. What they do, they find one Indian face selling Cadbury, and they say Diwali पे कुछ मीठा हो जाए, but they never say that Indian dishes are already sweet. हम चौम खा सकते हैं, हम रसगुल्ले खा सकते हैं, हम गुलाब जामुन खा सकते हैं. नहीं, no, we have to eat chocolate, क्योंकि that's the way. Plus, what helped in development of world literature? Next point, fourth point. What helped in development of world literature? This is translation. one literature got translated in another language. Now, most of you must be knowing the word translation, but actually, in literature, the word translation does not exist. Translation is not a word, it is either transliteration or transcreation. Because it is not the translation of word to word, it is the translation of the meaning, the sense. Because if you go for translation only, and I say that Ram goes, Ram jata hai, he eats, he wo khata hai, it is a dead translation, so this doesn't work. We cannot say that translation, the word to word translation works. If it works, then you tell me the English translation of लाली मेरे लाल की जित देखूं तित लाल, लाली देखन मैं गई मैं भी हो गई लाल. It's a philosophical line. लाली मेरे लाल की जित देखूं तित लाल, लाली देखन मैं गई मैं भी हो गई लाल. Now can you just translate for word to word translation? Red, red, reddish, reddish, red, red, reddish. Can you? Or even if I just take the example from Hanuman Chalisa, लाल देह लाली लसे अर्धरी लाल लंगूर भद्र देवदाना दलन जय 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 कपिसूल. So if I just ask you लाल देह लाली लसे अर्धरी लाल langur, how will you go for it? Red body, redness, red red baboon, like that, it will kill the sense. That's the reason that word translation doesn't exist. A translation is what you want to say, how it is accepted. This the emotion. It is the translation of the emotion. So if you must have seen a famous scene in a movie Tanu Weds Manu Part 2. There is a scene when there is a family is going for Rishta, and what happens? This girl speaks in English, heroine, and one person goes for a Hindi translation. She says, "What do you do? करते क्या हैं आप? Do you go to club?" He says, "Gym खाना जाते हैं आप." Ha ha ha. That dull translation. Remember old television ad? Now what they go for? They go for the real sense of translation. But do you remember the old television advertisement, especially the would come to sell some fitness product? Oh, मैं पहले काफी निराश था, मैं काफी दुखी था, लोग मेरा मजाक उड़ाते थे, फिर मैंने 2000 रुपए में ये बेल्ट खरीदा, अब लोग मुझे देख के दूर से हंसते हैं. ऐसा नहीं आता था. मैं काफी निराश था, मैं काफी परेशान था, मैं सुसाइड करना चाहता था. That was the just translation, killing the sense. It is actually transliteration, literature. Understand the sense, recreate the sense, or transcreation. Take the theme, recreate the theme in your language. If you're liking my style, this is Vineet Pandey's style, okay? अगर आपको मेरा स्टाइल पसंद आ रहा है तो ये विनीत पांडे स्टाइल है. Learning with fun, हंसते खेलते, and moreover, if you understand things and you know how to enjoy these things, it means you are having these things in your brain. I am sure you are not going to forget these things. ये आपको अच्छे से याद रहेगा. Share it with your friends. Put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook. Tell people, देखो ऐसे भी कोई टीचर पढ़ा सकता है. Anyway, so this was the scene. Now, what are the writers who are very important for you? So take the pen and paper. I'm going to read some names, because obviously even I don't remember all the names, but I'll tell you the names which are very very important. कौन से लोग important हैं, उनको जरूर पढ़ना है. Go for the first one. Anna Maria Bunn, B-U-N-N. Anna Maria B-U-N-N Bunn. इसको पढ़ना है. Marcus Clark, M-A-R-C-U-S. Marcus Clark, इसको पढ़ना है. बेंजो पैटरसन जरूर पढ़ना है. Henry Lawson, Henry, Henry Lawson, L-A-W-S-O-N, very important. Henry Lawson. Miles Franklin, very important. Miles Franklin भी पढ़ना है आपको. Go for it. Christina Steed, important है. Patrick White, very important. Patrick White, very important. Morris West, kind of important, yes. David Meloff, very important. Thomas Neely, very important. Peter Carey, very important. A.D. Hope, very important. Richard Flanagan, very important. Judith Wright, very important. These are the writers. I have given you the list. Make sure you read these writers, prepare everything. And yes, along with these things, make sure whatever I have explained today you have written, you have made notes. And I also suggest you when you read these writers what to read, how to read. Open Wikipedia, know about their personal life, see how they were started writing career and what are the great books in their career. If he has written something best, something awardee, something like that, it becomes very important for you. And all the online students, you will already have the printouts we will be teaching you. You will get this kind of complete printout, complete notes with all the details. आपको मिल जाएगा. Don't panic, okay? Don't start calling my office tomorrow, everyone, that please. You will get it. The moment we will finish this lecture, you will get that PDF with all the writers, all their important books, lines, quotations, everything else. So and Ashik, watch the lecture once again. ये उसको पीछे कर देना, अपने आप आ जाएगा. Tiger is Olivia has asked where is Tiger. Tiger is in another room because it is the evening time. I have to take him for the walk. And all the new students, if you are loving this lecture, we invite you to join the batch. And next lecture we are going to have on cultural studies. So if you are a new student, don't forget to subscribe so that you'll also get the link. Next lecture cultural studies पे होगा, advanced lecture होगा. There also I'm going to tell you the names of writers which are very important. Start working and yes, enjoy this evening. Bye bye.